Hello, I'm Bethany from Bethany Wellness. Join me for this Planting Seeds yoga class. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Planting Seeds yoga class. So, spring is in the air. So, what a great time in our own lives to consider what seeds we would like to plant for this change in season. Just think when the seasons change, it's a good time for us to think about and consider in our own lives things that we might want to plant seeds for. Some items we will be using in this class today would be blankets. I have 2 blankets just in case, and then 2 blocks. So go ahead and gather those, and let's begin. Come to lying down on your mat with a blanket rolled up like a column. So we're going to just kind of put this column of a blanket on the mat, and it will be along our spine. So it might feel a little strange at first if you're not used to lying on a blanket like a column underneath your spine. Just come to lying down on that blanket. Preferably it would support your head and neck so that you're not just dangling your head and neck off of the blanket. And then the blanket just runs along your spine, down through the thoracic spine. Depending on the length of your blanket, it may make it all the way down to the lumbar spine. So it just depends on how your blanket's rolled up and how it feels. Just take a minute here to settle in and notice. Just notice if you need to change anything with that blanket, if it needs to be rolled less tight so that it's just kind of a less firm of a column or a roll. So just play around with it here. Just see what works for you before you commit to just being on that blanket. You can also choose if you'd like to have the knees bent with the feet flat on the mat. Maybe you might want to bring your arms out a little bit, just to the sides, or you can rest your hands on your belly. So just choose what's comfortable. Begin to settle into some nice full breaths. In through your nose and out through your nose. Begin to settle into this space. So just noticing your body in this space. Choosing to let your muscles go. Sometimes we're still gripping as we begin our yoga practice. So just soften down, release down into the support beneath you. So feeling the surfaces underneath you and choosing to give a little, choosing to just surrender, sinking down into the support. And as we think about this spring, the change in season, just feeling that little bit of the change in the light, or seeing and noticing the change in the environment. If you're noticing maybe the tulips have sprouted, or just look around, and if you're noticing in your area the feeling of spring. Maybe you're not quite there yet, that's okay. Spring is in the area, or it's around the corner. Let's think about in our own lives seeds that we would like to plant. So obviously a time of spring is a time to plant seeds in our own yards or in our indoor plants or garden. If you're starting a garden in the spring is when we start to think about planting those seeds. Let's think about within our own life seeds that you would like to plant. And think about maybe 2 to 3, maybe thinking of just general topics, whether it's love or gratitude or a change. Maybe you're craving a change. Just think about for you some seeds you would like to plant in your own life. And let those sink in here, sinking into your mind, your body, your spirit. Let them settle into your heart. And think about each seed sinking down into the ground. As we practice this very nurturing and gentle practice today to nurture our seeds. Think about how the soil and the earth nurture physical seeds. When you're planting seeds, the soil and the earth kind of hug around that seed. And the seed might just feel kind of wrapped up a little bit in that nurturing feeling. So just think of that here. Now bring your feet to the mat. So bend the knees, still staying on that column of a blanket, which can feel a little unstable if you find yourself just rolling to one side or the other. Sometimes you feel like you might roll off of that blanket. So be very slow and calculated in your movements. Find your 2 blocks. Place 1 block under each upper thigh, kind of where your thigh meets your hips. Then begin to open your legs like a book, letting the soles of your feet connect. So that reclined bound angle pose. But this one is nice and supported, very gentle. And then rest right hand on belly, left hand on heart center. Coming back to your seeds that you've chosen, 2 or 3 seeds that came to mind for you today. Let those settle in here. Let those seeds be wrapped up in this gentle practice. Think about nurturing those seeds. So, of course, seeds need water to thrive. So, what could you do to water your seeds? For example, if you chose love as something you would like to plant a seed for in your life, perhaps love begins by watering it by reaching out to others, connecting with others. That's one way that you could water that seed. So just think about for you, what are some ways you could water your seeds? Let's practice 3-part breaths. So allow your breath to begin in the belly, then let it travel to the middle of your chest, then all the way up underneath your collarbones. Taking a 3-part inhale, then pause for a moment at the top of your inhale. And then as you exhale, let all 3 parts empty. Let's do that again. 3-part inhale, in through your nose, out through your nose. And next, on the next maybe 2 or 3 breaths, let's take a 3-part inhale through our nose and exhale an audible sigh out your mouth. Let's do that again. Inhale through your nose, exhale out your mouth. And last time. Very good. Then draw your knees together, bringing the feet to the mat. Release the blocks. And from here, let's cactus the arms, but have the hands clasped overhead. So I'm going to clasp my hands first, either holding just my fingertips or interlacing fingers. Then I'm going to reach my arms overhead. So this is a narrow cactus arms, not quite the wide open goalposts that you might sometimes choose. So very gentle. Take some breath here, opening chest, shoulders, heart center, inviting those seeds into your heart. The seeds that you have selected, the seeds that you will nurture for growth this season. The seeds that you will choose to pay attention to rather than perhaps neglect, which sometimes we do with our plants, right? Sometimes we forget to water them or we forget to give them the light that they need. So choose here to open your eyes to your seeds, to notice your seeds, to nurture your seeds. Good. And slowly bring your arms back overhead and by your sides. Roll to one side and slowly come off of that blanket. And then move the blanket out of the way. Just come to lying down on your mat with your knees bent, so feet are flat on the mat. Take a few breaths here. Palms are down. So feeling contact with the earth and the ground. Feeling nurtured by the ground. Kind of feel integrated with the ground. And if you're in a warm weather climate, you may wish that this practice would be outside. Perhaps you can try that to really feel that connection with the earth. Where I'm at, it's just not warm enough yet for an outdoor practice. Soon enough. Okay, then slowly hug your knees in, kind of curling up into a little ball. So wrap arms around shins or behind thighs, and then exhale as you curl up and tuck up the forehead towards the knees. Imagine you're a seed, a little seed pod releasing down into the earth. And slowly release, bring the feet back down, arms by your sides. Walk your feet to the wide edges of your mat. Arms can come out a little bit. Take an inhale. Then as you exhale, windshield wiper legs to the left. So just feeling a little bit of opening through the hips, through the low back, a little bit of a spinal twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale, windshield wiper legs to the right. Good. Inhale back to center. Let's do one more per side. Exhale to the left. Just let your legs hover where they are. We're not forcing any movement here. We're just exploring our own range of motion and welcoming it wherever it's at. Inhale to center, then exhale to the right. Good. Inhale back to center. Take an overall stretch. Stretch the legs down, reach arms overhead. Most parts of our body here are connecting to the earth, so just notice the hands as they connect to the earth, the backs of the shoulders, parts of your back, your glutes, your legs, your heels, your feet. So full contact with the ground, allowing our seeds to be nurtured by the ground. Good, then bend the knees. You can choose to rock forward and back to come up to sitting, or you can just roll to one side. Let's come into tabletop. So on your hands and knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Knees are about 2 fist widths apart. Inhale, let your belly soften down as you gaze up, cow pose. Exhale as you tuck and round into cat pose. Press through palms, gaze back to thighs. Go at your own pace, slowly connecting with cow and cat with your breath. One more cow, one more cat. And exhale to child's pose. Sink hips to heels. Knees can be together or drawn wide, whatever's comfortable for your hips and your knees. Slowly sink forehead down. Reach the arms gently overhead, or you can actively stretch them overhead. And here, just imagine you are a seed. You feel like a little bit of a ball in the child's pose. Just once again, feel like kind of one curled up seed connecting to the earth through your forehead, through the knees and the front of your shins. And just inviting your seeds to be planted into your mind, body, and spirit. Drawing up nutrients to nurture your seeds. And inhale, rise up into table. Let's go through a little bit of side cat here. So bring the wrists back under shoulders. Exhale as you draw the hips out to the right for side cat. Staying right here, just exploring and feeling the out of center of gravity here. We're just kind of floating out to the side. Inhale to center, then exhale to the left, side cat. Let's do one more per side. Inhale to center, exhale to the right. Inhale to center, exhale to the left. Good, then come back up to center. And slowly come into a seated position. So whether that's cross-legged or butterfly, whichever's comfortable in your body, you can choose. I'm going to choose to use my blanket here. So you may wish to try this. Your blanket's still rolled maybe, and just sit towards the front of the roll. So we're not sitting completely on the blanket. We're sitting towards the front of it, so it's a little bit of a shelf that helps tilt our hips down and the sits bones tilt down a little bit. What that also allows is for the spine to be lengthened tall. So we're kind of lengthening up, but it's not quite as much strain or effort to sit tall because the blanket is helping us. So take a few breaths here, palms down on your legs or down on your feet, shoulders away from ears. So think about here, you can close your eyes if you'd like to visualize this or just gaze down, rooting down through your sits bones. So the sits bones are connected to the earth, drawing energy from the ground for your seeds. Relaxing through the shoulders, shoulders away from ears, crown of head lifts up slightly. So imagine someone's behind you and they gently adjust your head and neck just by ever so gently lifting up from maybe the base of your skull. Bring hands to heart center. Take a few breaths here, even tuck chin down towards chest a little bit. Drawing in, nurturing yourself, nourishing your seeds. Always coming back to what you've selected for your seeds this season. And let's end our practice today with a forward fold. So release your hands to the ground. Gently begin to hinge from the hips and just sink down into a fold. So feeling that surrender, feeling that little bit of that sensation again of kind of curling up into a little ball or a little seed. Getting prepared for the growth that will come. Choosing to water and nurture your seeds. Choosing to maybe let go of old seeds that we were trying to grow that are no longer thriving or being nourished anymore. And take a nice breath in and then an exhale with a sigh. And slowly rise back up. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Planting Seeds yoga class. I hope you'll see some growth during this spring season. We'll end with Namaste. The teacher in me honors the teacher in you. Namaste. Be well.